There is a silent game of psychological dominance being played in every room you enter, and if you don't know the rules, you have already lost. Most people assume power is loud. They think it's the person speaking the most, dominating the conversation, or aggressively projecting their status. But true psychological leverage is entirely silent. Think about the last time you encountered someone who simply refused to be moved. Someone who did not laugh at a bad joke just to ease the tension. Someone who let an uncomfortable silence stretch out without feeling the neurotic need to fill it. Your instinct wasn't to dislike them. Your instinct, buried deep in your primal psychology, was to submit to them. What if everything you've been taught about winning people over is exactly what is keeping you at the bottom of the hierarchy? What if the ultimate flex of power isn't forcing people to agree with you, but showing them that you are entirely unfazed if they don't? Centuries ago, Niccolo Machiavelli observed a brutal truth about human nature that still dictates every interaction you have today. He noted that men are quick to break the bonds of love when it serves their interest, but they are held in check by a reverence for consequences that never leaves them. Modernize this. We aren't talking about being a tyrant. We are talking about the psychology of boundaries. When you lack discipline, you signal to the world that you are malleable. If you cannot govern your own impulses, how can you command the respect of others? The masses trade their integrity for a moment of validation. They break their own rules just to fit in. But the Machiavellian mind understands that human beings do not respect what they can easily manipulate. They secretly, deeply, and viscerally respect what they cannot bend. They respect cold discipline. Consider the hidden problem of infinite availability. Most people assume that to be valued, they must be present. They reply to messages in seconds. They drop their personal goals the moment an invitation arises. They mistakenly believe that their presence is a gift. But here is what they miss. The human brain is hardwired by the law of scarcity. We subconsciously devalue whatever is abundant. Think about the person in your life who is always there, always willing, always agreeing. You like them, but do you revere them? When the stakes are high, is that the person you look to for leadership? No. Now contrast that with the individual who protects their time with ruthless, almost aggressive precision. When they say, "I can't, I have work to do," they aren't apologizing. They are stating a fact. The psychological mechanism here is value projection. When you prioritize your own discipline over someone else's temporary comfort, you project high self-worth. You signal that your internal mission is more important than external approval. The practical insight is visceral. Stop giving away your most valuable asset, your focus, for the cheap price of being liked. But simply being unavailable is only the surface layer. Protecting your time means nothing if you crumble the moment someone challenges you. Here is where things become interesting. There is a profound difference between having rules and enforcing them. Introduce the problem of the negotiable boundary. You tell yourself you will wake up at 5 a.m. You tell yourself you will not tolerate a certain tone of voice. Yet, the moment friction arises, you compromise. Why do most people fail to notice this erosion of self? Because they mask their weakness as being reasonable. Imagine a scenario. You are working on a critical project, the very thing that will elevate your future. A peer or a partner demands your attention for a trivial matter. They push. They use guilt. They expect you to bend because you have always bent before. If you break your discipline and give in, you think you have kept the peace. The hidden truth? You have just taught them how to treat you. You have shown them that your personal standards are an illusion. Every time you break your own rules for someone else, they lose a fraction of respect for you. Even worse, you lose respect for yourself. Machiavelli understood that power is not granted. It is established through unwavering consistency. The psychological mechanism is boundary testing. People will push you to see where you break. When they hit a wall of cold, unyielding discipline, they may act frustrated in the moment, but secretly, their respect for you skyrockets. You become a fixed point in a chaotic world. But there is another layer, a darker, more profound realization. What happens when your discipline isolates you? What happens when the coldness of your routine begins to push the ordinary people out of your life? Most people stop here. They cannot handle the void. But that is exactly where the true transformation begins. There is a terrifying phase of personal evolution nobody prepares you for. The moment you stop negotiating your boundaries, the room gets empty, fast. Most mistake this isolation for failure. They panic and lower their standards to crawl back into the warmth of the crowd. But here is what they miss. The isolation is not a penalty. It is a biological filter. When you cancel mindless socializing to build your future, your old circle won't applaud you. They will call you obsessed. Why? Because your new discipline is a mirror reflecting their stagnation. To protect their own egos, they must frame your focus as a flaw. But if you stand firm, if you embrace the coldness of your path, something magical happens. Their mockery turns into quiet, begrudging reverence. They realize you cannot be manipulated. Surviving this isolation is only the beginning. What happens when the filter finishes its job and you enter the world with this new armor? We are conditioned to believe respect is chaste, that you must speak louder or solve everyone's problems to be valued. Here is the hidden reality. Respect is not chaste. It is anchored. Imagine a high-stakes crisis. The room descends into chaos. The ordinary person reacts, their emotions spike, and they get pulled into the emotional hurricane. Now look at the disciplined individual. They do not rush to speak. They simply observe. In psychology, this is emotional contagion. In moments of panic, a group's nervous system subconsciously seeks out the most regulated, stable entity and anchors to it. When you possess cold emotional discipline, you become the heaviest object in the room. You do not need to demand respect. The group's psychology will naturally orbit around your stillness. But there is a trap. Many confuse cold discipline with being an unapproachable tyrant. That is a rookie mistake. The masters know there is a final, paradoxical layer to this strategy. Machiavelli did not advocate for senseless cruelty. He advocated for calculated value. The hidden problem with being endlessly nice is simple. Inflation. Just like printing too much money destroys a currency, giving everyone a smile and your undivided attention by default makes your warmth worthless. It is hyperinflated. Human beings only value what is earned. When an eager people pleaser gives you a compliment, you barely register it. But imagine receiving genuine approval from a stoic, disciplined individual who holds impossibly high standards. It feels like winning gold. It releases a massive spike of dopamine. This is the contrast principle. Your warmth only has psychological weight if your default state is cold discipline. When you withhold validation, you make it infinitely more valuable. You teach people that your respect is a high-tier reward, not a basic human right handed out for free. But to truly wield this leverage, you cannot fake these tactics. Faking it will destroy you. You must undergo a fundamental death of who you used to be. We are no longer talking about neat psychological tricks. We are no longer discussing how to text someone back or how to say no to a meeting. This is about the total annihilation of the accommodator. Right now, you operate from an identity of reaction. You are a thermometer, adjusting your temperature to match whatever room you walk into. You are a dependent reliant on the validation of your peers to feel secure in your own skin. You act out of a secret fear that if you displease them, you will be abandoned. That identity must burn. You must step into the identity of the intentional creator. A thermostat. You set the temperature. You are no longer a victim of other people's schedules. You are the architect of your own time. You are no longer a follower begging for a seat at the table. You are the table. You are an individual who has looked at the cheap, fragile currency of being liked and traded it in for the heavy, unbending gold of being respected. It is a lonely transition, but it is the only path from ordinary to exceptional. Close your eyes and look at the life waiting for you on the other side of this shift. Picture yourself walking into a room. You don't feel the neurotic, buzzing anxiety to fill the silence or impress the people around you. Your posture is relaxed. Your mind is sharp. When your phone buzzes with a demand disguised as a favor, you don't feel a spike of guilt. You feel absolute clarity. You ignore it until your own work is done. Watch how people change around you. Notice how they stop interrupting you. Notice how they begin to carefully choose their words when they ask for your time. They no longer assume you are available. They hope you are. You are no longer exhausted by the world because you are no longer carrying the world's expectations. You are governed only by your own code. You are respected not because you demanded it, but because you left them absolutely no other choice. Think back to that moment in the beginning. Sitting on the edge of your bed, replaying a conversation, feeling the bitter sting of being taken for granted. You now realize why that happened. It was not because you weren't kind enough or smart enough or good enough. It was because you lacked the cold discipline to let them lose you. Machiavelli taught us that humans revere what they cannot break. Stop breaking your own rules. Stop bending your own boundaries. Stop handing out your soul for the cheap price of temporary approval. The world will test you. It will push against your walls. Let it. When the dust settles, they will look at the fortress you have built, and they will finally understand. If you are ready to kill the need for external validation, to stop negotiating your self-worth, and to build a mind of undeniable, cold discipline, do not just close this video and return to your old habits. Commit to the shift. Leave a single word in the comments to anchor this new identity. Unbroken. Let it serve as your permanent psychological contract. You are done bending.